Welcome everyone to the Real Whovians cast, episode 471. I am your host, Matrixlord 212. I'm with Phil. What's up, Phil?
Oh, not much. Hatshepsut and I are just sitting here.
Okay, so now you said your opinion was completely different. So tell me what you thought about the episode.
Well, it had its high and its low points. I honestly thought more high than low. There were some things that really did irritate me too. For example, the whole intro with Jenna's eyes and everything.
Yeah, I was pissed about that.
I honestly felt like it was a bunch of pandering.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the annoyance in Flatline, where she was pretending to be the doctor and basically ruining what was otherwise a great episode. I would not have a. How do I explain this? Well, just with the facts. I'm not fond of the idea of a female doctor. I think some things could stand to stay the same. However, that being said, if we ever had one where it was picked because the actress is just damned amazing and could do something really cool for the role, I'd go with it.
Right.
But
Okay.
Moffat might want to do it just to do it, and I detest pandering, and that's what the intro made me feel like I was seeing.
It's like it's thrown down our throats, right? Basically, that it's coming any minute and we can't stop it.
No, I wouldn't say it was that. I think it was more testing the waters because he wants to do it, but I feel like he's going to do it just to do it, which is pandering. I wouldn't say that he was really shoving anything down throats, though.
Okay. Danette, hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, so now what do you think of the episode?
I thought it was okay. I didn't think, it was like the best episode ever, but I mean, I thought it was alright. But
I had some
parts that.
Well, what didn't you like about it?
What I didn't like about it, I guess I wasn't really, emotionally invested in the Danny-Clara relationship, because I didn't really care that he was a Cyberman.
Oh,
I mean,
that's something unexpected. I didn't know. Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, you know what it is too. Their relationship didn't really build up on it the whole season, so it was like
because we didn't really see him that much. I mean,
exactly.
Together. Yeah, we saw. I mean, yeah, in different episodes, but
Right.
I'm like, oh, he's a Cyberman. Okay.
Now, my problem was when Darkwater, right? When he died in the first couple of minutes of Darkwater, right? How many weeks later was that? That she went to see the doctor. Was that 3 weeks? Or was it 3 months? I'm trying to remember. Do you remember, Phil?
I don't know.
Was it 3 months later that she went with the doctor, or 3 weeks later?
I'd have to look again, to be honest.
All right. Well, we're going to research that later on. But even if it's 3 weeks, right? There's no way they can have a dead body on the same table laying there for like weeks.
Well, actually, let me disagree with you there because that can happen. If he had been kept on a slab and if there were enough bodies, they do go in an order of importance. My father's a cop, and for a very short time, he actually tried a stint in the morgue, and he used to tell me about stuff like that. So what they did there was actually very plausible.
So if it was 3 weeks, that would be possible that a body would just be laying there?
If there is enough pile-up, it would depend on how much of a workload there has been. It would not be the normal situation, but it is not out of the question.
But if it was 3 months, would that be...
3 months, they better be in the middle. 3 weeks is one thing. If you're talking about 3 months, there had better be like some sort of epidemic, like we're talking about Ebola times 5.
Okay, so in other words, if Danny Pink was laying there for 3 months...
But keep in mind another thing. and that is writers of television shows don't always have enough research and do make mistakes.
Come on, man. I mean, that's like, first of all, people die every day, and then they get the body prepared, whether it be a week, or even sometimes they have to ship it overseas. It's like a couple of weeks, but if it's 3 months, there's no way that that body's laying on that same exact table for 3 months.
3 weeks is believable if it was kept in cold storage, but not 3 months.
Okay. We're going to try to find out on the next cast what it was. I'm going to have to go back and watch that. But another thing, pointing out the plot holes. They went in the Nethersphere and they got the TARDIS. Like,
they didn't. That's not accurate. They went into St. John's Cathedral, into the building that housed the Nethersphere. The Nethersphere was that Matrix data slice, and do you know why the Master can get in and out? That goes back to Trial of a Time Lord. He has she has a copy of the key.
Okay, so in other words, what they were in was what?
What they were in was the building where she had it. They weren't actually in the Nethersphere to get the TARDIS. The Doctor didn't land in the Nethersphere. He landed in the building where he confronted her, where you saw them come out. He was inside of that structure.
But wasn't that the same thing? Because the TARDIS landed where Jenny Pink was.
No. It was near the Nethersphere. The Nethersphere was in that building. She pointed out the Nethersphere to him in conversation. It was that Matrix data slice that was flying in the air.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that odd-looking thing in the air that was looked like cameras or something.
As it looks to people that aren't inside of it, yes.
Okay. So now, still, wherever they were, they couldn't, like, UNIT couldn't research and find out all the information while there?
Well,
they got the TARDIS?
Remember, UNIT had only lightly been looking into things for a while. It wasn't until Mist tipped them off basically right when they showed up. And then they came down because of the tip-off. So they didn't really do a whole hell of a lot of research. They looked into it a little bit, but it's kind of implied that until they got that tip-off, there wasn't much on which to go. And UNIT, even though UNIT is who they are, they can't just go balls deep. Even UNIT has to work on evidence.
Right, okay. One more piece of information. Didn't Osgood get transported, like in the Bad Wolf episode, where Rose was zapped and dust was left from a transmat, and Captain Jack and the Doctor thought she died because they saw her dust, but she was really transmatted to the Dalek thing and parting of the waves.
Yes, and I see where you're going with that, but not all transmats are the same. And if you look at that special effect of how Missy got blasted, it looks a lot more like what happened when she was on the plane and teleported, and please show me one Cyberman anywhere, not even just in this episode, in Doctor Who ever, that has disintegrated someone with a blast of their weapon. It hasn't happened. That wasn't Cyberman killing her.
I actually, the kids pointed it out. The Doctor was holding that device wrong. He wasn't going to kill her. Sideways. He transported her out of there.
Maybe he did, but I think that it was the blue blast that we saw, because
I freeze framed that, and seconds before she got blasted, her buttons glowed like she was transmatted out of there, Missy. So she's alive.
Oh, I know that she's alive. Think about this. She had 2 bracelets. She gave up the one that controlled the Cybermen, but that big spiky thing, I'll bet you wasn't just jewelry.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But one way or the other, she transmatted, and no, I don't buy for a second that the Doctor would actually have killed her.
Right. Now, so in other words, another thing, too, if that's the case, Danny Pink's consciousness was sent back to the Nethersphere, technically. So he's not dead.
Well, his body is. And this is where you start getting into the weirdo crap that only New Who touches, especially under Moffat, where death becomes a joke. Frankly, he should be dead, he should be dust. I didn't like that either he could have come back or that he could sacrifice himself for the boy, but as long as he stays dead and gone, I'm cool with it.
I'm not cool with it. I'm not cool with Osgood being dead. I'm not cool with Danny Pink.
Oh, I'm glad. Okay, I see. I'm glad that Osgood's dead because, oh my God, she was such an obnoxious fangirl. But here's the thing:
Oh,
if you want Osgood that bad, it could have been the Zygon, or it could have been her, and then the Zygon will mourn her and decide to keep her form. Either way, we can have the obnoxiousness of more of her, and if we do, please let a Dalek blast her.
Okay.
And I like the actress. Understand, I have to specify this. I've met Ingrid Oliver. She's really nice. I just don't like her character.
Oh, my God. Okay. What do you have to say, Danette?
No, I get what he's saying. Yeah, because I know Moffat's been criticized a lot for bringing people back and speaking people back, or not having, like, the, what am I trying to say? The
Cojones to do
not,
it?
right, and in his episodes, there's no stake. There's no, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Because oh, the doctor's going to save the day. He's going to save this person. It's all going to be okay. But there's no.
None of that.
I don't know. There's none of that now. It's all, this person can die, this person can die. Because I never thought in a million years Osgood would die. I mean.
Okay.
Well, when she mentioned the bucket list, that was a good hint,
Yeah.
And
Okay,
I'll tell you about the mistress, I have to say this, and you know me, I don't say this lightly. Okay, first of all, while I like John Sims as an actor, I hated his version of the Master.
Really?
But I understand personalities change in regeneration, so he should never have been identical to anyone like Roger Delgado or Anthony Ainley.
Right.
But still, it would have been nice to have that type of a villain as opposed to the giggling fool that we had for the previous incarnation. On the other hand, her execution of the Master, the type of plot that she was hatching in both of these episodes, felt more like something that Roger Delgado would have done. And do you know what would have made it perfect? If, indeed, we would have seen the here blast her down and you see her fall over dead, and then the Doctor reaches down, pulls away her face, which turns out to be a mask, and underneath it's Clara, I would have been crying with joy.
Wow.
But she is a great Master. I literally put her up there with Delgado, and I hope that she's reoccurring. But like with any good villain, she should also not be overused.
Correct. But she is coming back because Moffat stated that. Now, another question.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did state it. She's definitely coming back. He came out and he said it. It's absolutely.
Good.
Okay. Now, on another note, don't you think that you tell me, like, your opinion of my opinion, right? I felt the episode was pointless, and I'll tell you why. She builds up a cyber army. She plucked people out of time or whatever, the Clockwork Droid, the lady, the people from the different episodes. You never even see them, okay? And then she surrenders the entire army to him. Happy birthday. Here it is. You're the leader. I serve you. Like, I'll go in chains by your side, but I serve you. That's not the Master, though. The Master doesn't do that.
Honestly, don't be so quick to say that it's not, because you have to consider a few things. One, would the Master ever truly stay captive? No, the Master is a good liar. But on the other hand, I don't know where it is with a female incarnation, but beforehand I definitely would not have suggested anything of an attraction, and I'm not so sure that I would yet. But there is definitely a certain love that the Master has always felt for the Doctor at the same time as that weird hatred of his. And if there is anything that the Master has always wanted, it's his friend back. And now her friend. So that actually
you really believe that? Like from Delgado era, that he wanted to be friends with him?
He wanted to beat the Doctor, but the one thing that he also wanted was his friend. And remember, one thing that they were going to do, but since Roger Delgado died, it never happened. The Master was going to die saving the Doctor.
But that happened with John Sim.
In a way, yes. So there's definitely a long-standing precedent for that.
Okay. What do you think, Danette?
Yeah, and it's always been a chess game with those two. He would go after the doctor would try to stop him. They'd always play some kind of mind game or something. So she's probably just playing, messing with his head too.
Right.
And you know what? Missy was so delectably evil.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
I like the part too where she was there with, and Osgood was working on the thing, and she's just like, "Hey, Missy," starts singing.
Well, what's funny about that? Several days before this episode came out, I saw a meme that had a picture of Missy and it had those lyrics.
She was pretty funny, actually.
And there's also a picture of her of Mary Poppins where they put Anthony Ainley's head on it.
Oh my God.
Where he's floating down.
She was actually pretty funny.
To see both of those things happen in this episode just cracked me up.
Now, tell me this, all right? Don't you think it was wrong to put Nick Frost in there at the end?
I think it was wrong to have Santa Claus open the door of the TARDIS, and this Christmas episode had better give me a good explanation for why that happened. And if that explanation is that it's really Santa Claus, guess who's going to say, guess what, this Christmas episode has nothing to do with the continuity because I want to continue watching the show.
I just didn't understand with all that death and everything, and then you throw that in there. I'm like, oh, God, what was he thinking?
Well, here's the other thing. How far... Okay, here, Doctor Who's kind of subjective. This may have been right after he left at the end of events. For all that we know, it was a month or so later. But, one thing's...
The timing is terrible.
Oh, they're working on time constraints, though. But whatever he was mentioning, I don't think had any relevance to the episode. I think the relevance will come out when we see the Christmas episode.
I don't know, man. I understand it has to be a Christmas special, but they could have just showed a trailer. They didn't have to have that connection with, him doing that with the TARDIS.
I think it was because someone thought that it would be really ha-ha funny to be able to say Nick Frost and Santa Claus.
Yeah, but not after, people are dying and stuff. That was just, that wasn't cool, I thought. I don't know, what do you think, Danette? Yeah. That was, bad timing, as far as I'm concerned. What do you think?
Well, maybe they thought, after all that death and stuff, maybe they needed to end it in a lighter note, I guess. Maybe. They thought that would be a good way to do it. I don't know.
I don't know. What about the Brigadier thing? What about the Brigadier?
Well, I did. Some people didn't.
Did you like it?
You know what? Honestly, I thought that what they were trying to do, one can argue how it's executed, but I think that what they were trying to do was to give some little nod of respect to Nicholas Courtney the only way that they could.
But they did that already, though.
Yeah, but you know how but you know how sappy some of the people on this cast are. Let's be honest, they're pretty damn sappy.
But how is that a fitting end if his soul is trapped in a Cyberman body in
Well, here's the thing. It's not. This is what people are missing. He blew himself up. Sure, they didn't pan up and show us the explosion. It's just
he blew up. He just took off.
Every other Cyberman flew up and blew themselves off. Why wouldn't the Brigadier? He really choose to stay like that?
Because it's finished. The cloud thing is finished. He wouldn't need to blow himself up.
But he would probably rather blow himself up than continue on as a Cyberman. This is the Brigadier, man. He ain't going to stick around and
maybe he wants to take out anybody else.
Who was left to take out?
Oh, no.
So that's why he'd be like, okay, I did my job. I'm going back to sleep, boys.
I don't think he died. I don't think he blew himself up at all.
I don't think that they're going to be tacky enough, even Moffat, to make a reoccurring Cyber Brigadier.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, what about with the Clara do as you're told nonsense? Like,
You know what? I would love to see the Doctor space her, but that's just me.
Danette,
Then again, actually, you know what I'd rather see happen? No, he should. I'd like to see Missy with a tissue compression eliminator, but can we please make her TCE look less phallic and give her like a pair of cool-looking knitting needles, and she's sitting there playing with them, and all of a sudden someone shrinks and she goes back to knitting?
you get the tissue compression eliminator.
Hey,
Or
the
they're going to
TCE.
show like the dolls. Are they going to show like the dolls with the strangle them with the scarf thing back in the Fourth Doctor time? They looked like dolls when they were shrunk down. All right, so
That's what they used for the
I saw it twice, and I refuse to rate it yet because I had made a promise that I'm going to watch it again a few more times. So what do you rate it then?
I've rated it as an 8.5. It had the flaws that I've mentioned. I'm not going to go on record calling it a perfect episode. Few are ever near that. But it was, despite the flaws that it had, a pretty good episode, and I thought a good ender for a series that I think overall was a lot better than 7, but I think definitely could have used some improvement.
Okay. Danette, what did you rate it?
I gave it a 7.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't a horrible episode in my opinion, but I don't think it was like the best episode.
Okay, without naming any podcasts, what is the consensus of the Whovian community, Phil? I mean, have you seen...
Well, I've been on 2 other podcasts, and on both it seemed like you were getting pretty high ratings. There were some people that didn't like it, so I don't want to claim that this is universal, but I want to say that 8 was kind of like the average rating that I noticed.
Okay. But there was no it wasn't like a split. It was like the episode was good from what you've seen.
Yeah,
everybody
most people liked it. Like I know that, Phil?
No.
Black gentleman, gay from England. Older guy's pretty cool guy.
Okay.
He and I agreed on certain points, but he definitely was not a fan of the episode. In fact, he hasn't liked most of this season at all.
Okay. I'm going to have to watch people's podcasts and see, because I'm just curious what the consensus is.
Yeah, go ahead and check out Dr. Freedom's later on. And,
yeah, I'm going to watch that tonight. Yeah.
And then I also did Mike Shannon. I forget what he calls it. I feel bad about that. But
okay. I'll watch it.
Yeah, we've had some good conversations, and 8 seems to be about average, and everyone has their opinion. Just because everyone else likes it doesn't mean that you have to come around. If you hate it, you hate it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to look. A lot of times I like something and somebody else doesn't like it, and I was trying to explain to some of our members that everybody doesn't have to agree. And we could still do podcasts, and it doesn't have to be, you know what I'm saying? If like I don't like one episode, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, dare he not like the episode? It's like I saw somebody sent me a comment and like, you Capaldi hater or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like one episode I don't like. I'm like, okay, well, I just didn't like that. That has nothing to do with Peter Capaldi. It just has to do with I don't like the writing of it. But I'm going to watch it more times. Yeah.
While I'm thinking about this, I'm not in any hurry. Just whenever you do end this, don't drop off right away. There's something I need to ask you when we're not on the air.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm going to watch the Christmas special. But in case you didn't know, I was very upset when I saw this episode yesterday. I was furious. But I'm going to watch it when I have time, again and again and again, and see if the rating... Well, I don't have a rating yet for it, but if my attitude changes towards the episode. And we'll see. On that note, closing thoughts? Nope?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah? Okay. All right. Closing thoughts, Phil?
My closing thoughts are that, pretty much the same thing. I really liked the episode despite a couple of points. And for those of you out there who haven't seen it, Missy is awesome. Then again, I was making the wisecracker here today that Hissy the Clown can tell you the right way to watch with Missy. So yeah, enjoy the episode, and if you don't like the episode, you know what? Don't be afraid to get on one of these podcasts and say why. Right. We don't bite most of the time, except for when I'm frothing at the mouth.
Okay. All right. On that note, take care. Bye for now.